and welcome, lovely Leos. My name's Rose Smith from absolutesoulsecrets.com, and I'm here to do your tarot astrology for the month of February 2020. I must apologise about the AC on in the background. It is as hot as Hades where I am in Australia at the moment, so I do hope you can hear me clearly and it's not too much additional noise. Well, what a time we've all been through these past few months, and it is a really big year in 2020, a new year in a new decade, and we have 6 eclipses this year. So we just did 2 last year to start the year off on a transformational note. Fortunately, this month we don't have any eclipses, but the one big thing that is affecting all signs, of course, is Mercury retrograde, and you may have heard a lot of astrologers talking about Mercury retrograde. So this can affect things like your communications, travel arrangements, misunderstandings in relationships, and also be careful if you have any legal things or contracts that you have to sign, because you may have to go back and revisit them at a later date. It's not all doom and gloom, of course, because Mercury retrograde does help you go back to the past and finish off things that have still been left undone. So you can get a lot of benefit out of Mercury retrograde, but just be cautious about all those other things I just mentioned. And in a minute, I'll talk about which part of your life it's likely to affect. Alrighty, so on the 8th of the month, Venus goes into your 9th house, which is the house of higher learning. It's also spirituality and wisdom and knowledge. So things that could go with that, you may be thinking of doing a course or retraining, or even if you study on your own, but it's likely to be extended study over some period of time, and it's likely to involve abstract concepts rather than just your normal everyday sort of stuff that you learn in normal life. Okay, these are the big picture items when the 9th house, where the 9th house is concerned. 9th house also covers off things like overseas travel and foreign connections. And with Venus there, it's possible that you could meet some friends with foreign connections, or you go on a trip and meet a whole lot of new people. Venus sort of gives you a bit of a glow, makes you sort of magnetic to other people, and they appreciate your warmth and genuineness, I think. Venus likes sharing and caring. She's in love with the idea of love, and so she just has a lovely energy, and people will notice that about you, particularly if you go overseas. If you're looking for a romantic partner, you could meet somebody on your overseas travels. So, you know, Venus would really very much like this, and some of you would too, no doubt. The 9th sees the full moon, and it's in your sign, lovely Leos. So this is likely to sort of dredge up things out of your subconscious. The full moon's always about transformation, and because it's in your first house, your sign, it's about what is really intimate and personal to you, who you are as a person. So you may start thinking about what your beliefs are. Perhaps you've had long-standing beliefs about a political party or a religion or even your country or whatever it might be. These core beliefs that you've had, they're in for a shake-up, and you may start to see that what you thought was true is no longer true. It's often like political parties, for example, or religions, they go on what's happened in the past. So you're trusting what happened X amount of years ago is relevant now. And is it? Is your party doing what they're saying they're doing? You know, because here in Australia, we are in deep trouble with climate change. Our bushfires are still out of control. They've been raging, roaring since September, and it's only now that things a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, things are starting to be done to help the bushfire victims. But yeah, it's just corruption basically. So if you if you've had long-standing beliefs, you could change your mind. And upstairs is allowing things to happen so that we do change our minds, because then we start to see what the real truth is. And I'm not just talking about the YouTube truth, because, you know, there's a lot of, you know, conspiracy theories on YouTube. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your personal belief system, okay? So 18th sees Mars joining Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto in your 6th house. Okay, you're likely to be feeling motivated about your health or your everyday routine. You might change things around a little bit. So if you normally go for a walk in the morning, you might go in the evening, for example. But Mars gives you the energy and, you know, the inspiration to do things. And particularly where physical activity is concerned, the sort of downside of Mars sometimes can be you get angry or irritable more easily. But if you go for a walk, or you go and take it out in, you know, express that Mars energy in physical activity, that would be much healthier. So yeah, 6, your well-being, your everyday work. It is also, if you're not happy in your everyday work, you may decide that you need to go somewhere else, and Mars will just give you that little bit of a push to go and look for another job. 18th also sees Mercury retrograde in your 7th and 8th houses. Okay, so 7th and 8th houses is the 8th house is your intimacy and shared resources. Okay, so there could be delays around that. And I'll talk about these together actually. And the 7th is your house of committed relationships. So shared resources, that can be with partners, like business partners, close work colleagues, where you have to work on a joint project together, but you've been working together for a very long time, and it's almost like you're married or something like that. Your romantic or your marital partner. Okay, so this is your relationship and your house of intimacy and shared resources. And it, just to complicate things, it can also be to do with other people's money. Okay, so with Mercury there, if you're waiting for a loan to come through or some money from another source, which may be your money but they've got control of it, or it may be their money and they're giving it to you for a time, there could be some issue around it. And be careful, very careful with contracts, because sometimes there's misunderstandings, or it can be very ambiguous what's in the contracts. And so it's just a time to double check everything. I don't want you to be worried or concerned about it. When you're talking to your husband or your partner, just make sure you're very clear in what you're saying and get them to repeat back, you know. So you say blah blah blah, and then say to them, and, you know, did you understand that? Tell me what I've just said, to make sure that they understand it, because things can really go askew if. 19th sees the sun into your 8th, and the 23rd sees the new moon into your 8th. Okay, so 8th house again, all about shared resources, intimacy, sex, taboo, hidden subjects. Okay, can also be sort of things to do with spirituality there as well, although that's more to do with the 9th and the 12th houses. With the sun, you're likely to have some awareness or some insight into these issues, and the new moon is basically new beginnings around your intimacy and shared resources with other people, or, you know, money, particularly money. Uranus continues in your 10th house of career, and because you've got that activity in your everyday work as well in your 6th house, you may really seriously be thinking in February about changing jobs. Okay, so we're going to go to now the tarot. It's just amazing. My software's just stopped working again. I don't understand why. We've updated this like 4 times already, and it just doesn't work on the tarot board. It works when I test it before I start the video, but when I start the video and I'm actually live, it doesn't work. But that doesn't matter, because I'll do it by hand. Alright, so let's see what we come up with for Leo in February 2020. Okay, so what I'm seeing here before I pull the card is it's like an escalator going up. If you just keep on the path that you're on, you're going to ascend in consciousness and overcome some challenges and obstacles, okay? Because often when you have to take steps, it requires a lot of energy, you know, so that you have to put effort into it. But while you're on an escalator, you just go up magically, and that's what I see for Leos in February. Just continue doing what you're doing and you'll get to the top of where you want to go. Okay, so let's now look at the cards, and I'll pull a card for the first week of February. First week of February. Okay, that one is singing to me. All right, and this is Swords, and it's the Four of Swords. You could be feeling especially very tired at the moment, lovely Leos. It's really important that you don't overdo things. Don't allow yourself to become exhausted in February, especially the beginning of February. And you know, I know December and January are really, really busy times. And often there's a lot of socialising and meeting people, you know, for Christmas and the holidays and all of that. So by February, you could be feeling very tired. So if you are, please take time out and rest, okay? So you'll see this lass here, she's asleep here. There's a bat in the background and a full moon. It's like a lot of stuff has come up. Not only have you had to deal with your outside everyday world, but also internally there's been a lot of stuff going on, and it really is time for reflection and meditation, okay? Swords is about thinking. Maybe you've been overthinking, overthought some situations, and you have to give your mind a break. Try doing mindless tasks like washing up, or things that you don't, you know, you've got to try and turn your mind off, because it's like those racing thoughts, they can really control you and they can interfere with your sleep, so that you're having to sleep in the daytime, which you don't, you know, perhaps you don't normally do, but because of your racing mind, it's, you know, it's interfering with your sleep in some way. Okay, so that's for the first week in February. Now let's go to the second week in February. And I'm closing my eyes here. I've got a waterfall in front of me that I can see, and the water is coming down the river and down the waterfall. Okay, so this is like something that's going to refresh you in the second week of February. It's like the living waters from spirit are going into every cell of your body. It might have been difficult because I can see rocks here, and that implies it's a bit rocky. But the water is coming through at a great rate, so you just need to take it a little bit easier even in the second week of February, lovely Leos. Okay, let's see what card we come out with. I'll open my eyes, and this one comes out, and it is the Seven of Wands. Okay, this is about defending your position. Maybe you've been tired because there's some discord or some arguments going on in the background, and you have to defend your position and take action. See, she's got the red bra on at the moment, so that implies action, and you need to do something about it. See, with seven baseball bats, she's quite serious. Okay, Wands is a very fiery sort of energy, inspirational energy. Stand up for what you believe in the second week of February. Alrighty, so let's have a look here. And it is tiring when you have to defend yourself all the time. If you're in a relationship where you're constantly on the, back foot trying to defend yourself, you might consider, how healthy is that, and what is it doing to your health? Okay, third week of February for lovely Leos. Third week of February for lovely Leos. Just waiting for a picture. Alright, I've got a sense of nurturance. I see a banquet table, and it's full of luscious food, meals, all sorts of food here. So it's important to meet with spiritual people so that they can feed you spiritually. If you're associating with people that are not spiritually feeding you, that's a bit awkward and you could starve. So it's a better idea to associate with people who are spiritual and, you know, got some nurturance for you. Okay, let's see what card comes out. And we've got the Emperor card here. The Emperor card. Well, this is quite difficult sometimes in some respects. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for safety, consistency, conservatism and tradition, this is the guy for you. However, if you want freedom and creativity and you want to be in control of your own life, this could definitely be difficult. This could be an authority figure like a government department. In Australia, think of the Australian Taxation Office or Centrelink, for example. They could be causing some issues for you. All you can do is play by their rules. If you try to play by your own rules, they won't accept it. Okay, this guy wants to have absolute control over you. If it's not somebody actually doing that to you, just also be careful it's not you doing that to another person, okay? But if you're in a desperate situation, or if you've been through a really hard time, perhaps you might value the safety and comfort that goes with this energy. So that's a matter for you to decide. You know, and also, are you the person lording it over someone else, or is someone else over lording it over you? These are the sorts of issues, domination, control, that will come up in the third week of February. All right, now going to the final week of the month for lovely Leos. Okay, I see a door opening. It's a very old wooden door, and it's like I'm in a forest. It's a door in a forest. So this is like opening up to your natural self, your natural instincts and your own intuition. Okay, being in touch with the earth, being grounded and practical. And let's see what card we get with that. Okay, so I'm going to go with this one, and it's the Ace of Swords. New things, new thoughts, new starts in relationships or in work, and that was seen quite likely in your horoscope that work was a big focus this month. So you could go to another job or perhaps a promotion. Your thinking is cutting through, dissecting and analysing a situation, which is going to give rise to a new beginning in some area of your life. If it could be a relationship also, not just work, and you might decide, you know, that you want to get the relationship onto a new footing, or you want to start a new relationship perhaps. You'll see in the background there's a lot of new butterflies there flying around, and again that indicates new life. The other thing it could be, you may be considering getting pregnant. Okay, so this is about your thoughts. So it's probably not a time for action just yet, but this is like you're mulling over it in your mind the last week of February. Now I'll just close my eyes and see what I can see for you. Lovely Leos. Okay, I'm looking at a well in the ground, and the bucket is in the well, and it's bringing up fresh, clean water. So again, water, emotions, life enhancing energy, and it's like you're having a drink and being refreshed. Okay, so February gives you the chance to rejuvenate yourself in some way. So please do grab that opportunity with both hands. That's really important. Self reinvention or rejuvenation. Okay, and have a freshen up, and you'll feel more able to cope with all of the things that are going to happen in 2020, because there is a lot happening, and we're all being called to change at a very deep level this year. And again, being the beginning of the decade, it sort of sets the tone for the whole decade. So stay positive, find the silver lining in every difficult situation, and know that Spirit really is looking out for you. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Please do subscribe, like this video, and click the notification bell if you found it helpful. In the meantime, have a wonderful month, lovely Leos, and I shall see you again very soon. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.
Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.